Good morning, students. Last class we have started brief introduction of a fundamental unit of life chapter. Right? In that we have discussed different discoveries and inventions which have led in the exploration of microscopic world. Right? And we have learnt there are some unicellular organisms and there are multicellular organisms also. What is unicellular organism? An organism which has only one cell as its complete body. What are multicellular organisms? The organisms which have many cells in the structure of their body. Example for unicellular organisms are amoeba, chlamydomonas, paramecium, etc. Example for multicellular organisms are human beings, plants, other animals, fungi, etc. Right. There is a statement, every multicellular organism has come from single cell. Every multicellular organism has come from single cell. How? Because Vicho has given a statement, all cells arise from their pre-existing cell. All cells arise from their pre-existing cell. Based on that point, we can say that all cells of multicellular organisms must have origin in their pre-existing cells, and these pre-existing cells might have origin their pre-existing cell. Likewise, okay, all cells must arise from pre-existing cells. All cells must arise from pre-existing cells. Okay. Next, if you take different organisms like onion root tip and some fungus, some plant, you take different organisms and take out their cells. If you look at all cells from different organisms, do they look same? All cells do not look alike or same. They do not look alike or same. And they do not have same structure also completely. They will have different structures. Because they are from different organisms. The cells from different organisms obviously will not look alike and obviously will not have the same structure completely with one to each other. Why? Because they are from different organisms, living in different conditions and exposed and are actually intended for different functions. So they are different. And these differences, they give the differences in the shape and structure, they give differences in their function, because the shape and size and structure are related to the function of the cell. In different organisms, the cells are going to perform different functions. How are they going to perform different functions? Because they are having different structure and different shape. If shape and structure is differing, automatically its function also is going to differ. Next. Here, different organisms, different cells are there. But within the same organisms also there may be different kinds of cells. In complex, highly complex structured organisms like human beings and other many large sized animals, there are different kinds of cells within the same organisms. Why? Because the organization level is very high. So, within the same organism itself, different kinds of cells are there. And they are, how can you say they are different kinds? Because their shape and structure are different. Why their shape and structure are different? Because they are going to perform different functions. Form always correlates with function. Since they have to perform different functions, their shape and size are different. And if you take all the cells from the entire living world, there are two types of cells based on their shape. The cells with fixed shape, the cells with changing shapes. The cells with fixed shapes and the cells with changing shapes. The cells with changing shapes, example are amoeba, white blood cells, etc. Whereas the fixed shapes means many of the remaining cells. Neuron, if you take it, is having a fixed shape. Bone cell, it is having a fixed shape. Okay, red blood cell, it is going to have a fixed shape. White blood cell, it is going to have a changing shape. So likewise, there are two types of cells based on the shape. The cells with changing shapes, the cells with fixed shape. There are two types of cells. Next, why cell is called fundamental unit of life? Cell is called fundamental unit of life. Cell is called fundamental unit of life. Why is it called so? Why is it called so? Because each cell carries out certain basic functions which are the characteristics of a full or complete living organisms. Complete living organisms. Each cell carries out certain basic functions that are characteristic of a complete living organism. So, cell is called fundamental unit of life. If you look at a multicellular organism, in a multicellular organism, different functions are carried out by having different organs. As multicellular organisms are going to have different specialized tissues or different organs, you can find that these different functions are distributed among those different organs. What is division of labor? Dividing the functions or works among different units or different functional regions or different functional components. The functional components in multicellular organisms are different organs. So division of labor in multicellular organisms, it is achieved by having different organs. But each cell is carrying out certain basic functions, certain different basic functions that are characteristics of a complete living organism, complete multicellular living organism also. You can say complete multicellular living organism. Okay, multicellular living organism is having organs, so it is able to carry out different functions or division of labor can be seen in multicellular organism. What about a single cell? How it can carry out different basic functions that are the characteristics of a living organism? In a multicellular organism, there are different organs, whereas in a cell there are different functional components called organelles. Different functional components. Different functional components are present, which are called organelles. Organelles are different functional components in a cell or within a cell. These organelles together constitute a basic unit called the cell. These organelles together constitute the basic unit called the cell. If you take a complex multicellular organism like human being, Our heart pumps the blood. Our kidneys purify the blood. Our stomach, our small intestine, in which the food digestion, everything is carried out. Right? And blood carries the respiratory gases. And blood carries the waste byproducts. Likewise, different tissues are going to perform different functions. In the same way, within the cell, there are different functional components. A particular functional component, it is going to perform cellular respiration. Another particular functional component, it is going to expel out the wastes. Another functional component, it may synthesize the food. Another functional component, it will synthesize the biomolecules. Likewise, different functional components are going to perform different separate functions, which are common characteristics of a complete living organism, which can be even multicellular living organisms also, right? But if you take different cells of different cells of a complex multicellular organism, they are different in their shape and structure. And if you take the cells from different organisms, they are also having different shape and structure. But mostly all of the cells have same organelles. We have learned that the cell shape and broad outer structure of the cell, it is dependent on its function, or the function is decided by the cell shape and its size and its outer broader structure. And in different organisms, the cells will be having different shapes, sizes and structures, so as to perform different functions. And within a complex multicellular organism, there are different kinds of cells, right? But all these cells, mostly they have same organelles. When it comes to the organelles, mostly all the cells have same organelles, except that plant cells are going to have one extra organelle, that is plastid, which is lacking in animal cell, right? And some cells do not have organelles, like red blood cells, which do not have generally organelles. Other than that, mostly all the cells have same organelles, with which the basic unit or the cell structure is constituted. Next, what is a cell made up of? Or simply you can ask, what is the structural organization of the cell? A cell is made up of three basic features. They are plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. A cell is made up of three features. What are they? Plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. The cell is made up of three features. They are plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. Let us learn about these three things one by one. First one is plasma membrane. The word plasma generally refers to fluid. Inside the cell, generally, mostly, more than about 80-85% of water will be there. So it looks like liquid or fluid, which we call plasma or protoplasm. Protoplasm term was given by Purkinje. What is protoplasm? The fluid content of the cell is called protoplasm. Covering this protoplasm or covering this plasma or fluid, whatever the membrane is there, that is called plasma membrane. And this plasma membrane is also called cell membrane. Cell membrane. And this cell membrane or plasma membrane, it is the outer covering membrane. It is outer covering membrane, which which gives shape and which offers or provides protection to the cell. Protection to the cell. This outer covering membrane. Plasma membrane is the outer covering membrane which gives shape and which provides protection to the cell. Right? And it is a semi-permeable membrane. Cell membrane is generally semi-permeable because it allows only some molecules to move inside and outside across it. So across the cell membrane, only some molecules are allowed to move inside and outside across it. In a selective manner, it is allowing, as it is permitting or allowing only some. It is called semi-permeable, and it is allowing those some molecules in a selective manner. It is called selective permeable. Selective permeable. Semi-permeable or selective permeable membrane. Plasma membrane is called semi-permeable membrane because it allows only some molecules to move across it. Plasma membrane is called selective permeable membrane because it allows only some molecules to move across it in a selective manner. It allows only some molecules in a selective manner. Means in order to move across the cell membrane, some specific criteria must be met by that particular molecule. So then only it will be allowed to move across the cell membrane. So plasma membrane, it is also called cell membrane. It is the outer covering membrane. It gives shape, it provides protection. It allows only some molecules in a selective manner.